Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Maria Albina Michael, and with me is Saira Mujtaba with the Midday News. The headlines. Government issues Gazette notification to repeal the 3 farm laws. President Ramnath Kovind addresses the inaugural ceremony of the International Ambedkar Conclave in New Delhi, says Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was in favour of awakening the moral conscience of the society. Lok Sabha takes up discussion on COVID-19 pandemic. In next 2 years, India's national road network would be improved to European standards to shorten the travel time drastically, says Union Road Transport and Highways Minister in Lok Sabha. India at present is having air bubble agreement with 31 countries and have a proposal with 10 other nations. For the first time, a nuclear power plant is to be set up in North India at Gorakhpur in Haryana, informs Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh. National COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 125 crore doses mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.35%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Infinity Forum on FinTech tomorrow. Meteorological Department predicts heavy to very heavy rainfall in some districts of South Bengal on 4th and 5th December. In hockey, India to face Germany and Argentina to play France in semi-finals tomorrow in Bhubaneswar. And in cricket, second and final test match between India and New Zealand to be played at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai beginning tomorrow. Rain God likely to play spoil sport. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the fresh corona variants is also causing concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-239-78046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. The government has issued a Gazette notification to repeal the 3 farm laws. The Parliament repealed these laws on the first day of the ongoing winter session of Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address to the nation on the 19th of last month, had announced that the new farm laws enacted in 2019 will be repealed in the winter session of Parliament. Mr. Modi had appealed to all protesting farmers to go home in good spirits on the day of Guru Purab. The Prime Minister has also said a committee would be constituted to look into all aspects of agriculture.
Lok Sabha is now taking up discussion on COVID-19 under Rule 193. Speaker Om Birla said the discussion is timely as there is an emergence of the new variant Omicron. Mr. Birla expressed hope that the discussion will be healthy and constructive. The Speaker also commended MPs who did innovative things to deal with the pandemic in their respective constituencies and lauded the role of COVID warriors in tackling the global problem. Initiating the discussion, Vinayak Raut of Shiva Sena thanked Prime Minister, the Union and State Health Ministers and all Chief Ministers for dealing with the pandemic in an effective manner. He said even the thickly populated Dharavi of Mumbai, which was feared to suffer heavily, took it up as a challenge and showed the world how to fight the pandemic. However, Mr. Rawat pointed out that 60% of the ventilators provided under PM CARES funds were not functional and the supplier did not respond to repair and service them despite repeated demands. He remarked that out of the allocated 1,500 PSA plants, only 363 plants are operational. Mr. Vinayak Bhaurao Rawat also demanded reducing the gap in the number of days between administering the first and second doses of the Covishield vaccines so that the coverage of vaccination could be increased. The discussion is still underway. Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari said in the next 2 years, India's national road network would be improved to European standards to shorten the travel time drastically. Replying to questions in Lok Sabha, the minister said that over 1 lakh kilometers of roads will be added to Bharatmala and Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti programs to improve the road network. He said the second phase of works would begin next year under these programs with a priority to backward areas, tourism and logistical importance, including the states in the northeast, Jammu and Kashmir and Uttarakhand.
Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia today informed the Lok Sabha that at present India is having air bubble agreement with 31 countries and have a proposal with 10 other nations to start air bubble agreement. Replying to questions in the Lok Sabha, Mr. Scindia said currently 11 countries have been placed at risk, including all European nations, including UK, South Africa, Brazil, Botswana, China, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore and Israel.
We have 10 proposals pending for air bubbles which we have forwarded to those countries. Saudi Arabia is one of them. We are waiting to hear back from the Saudi Arabian government. We have sent our proposal from our side.
He said Omicron is certainly a setback and several countries have put different yardsticks. The minister said the yardstick put in place by India with putting 11 countries marked as at risk and testing them completely is the right way to go. The centre has said the country's oil companies are fully prepared to meet the future demand of petrol, diesel and other petroleum products. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha today, Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Rameshwar Teli, said the present refining capacity of Indian oil companies is over 249 million metric tons per annum. The demand for domestic consumption stands at 214 million metric tons. He said the excess refining capacity leaves some surplus for export of petroleum products.
Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said, smart city may not be the only way the infrastructure of a city may be attended to. He said scheme of 100 smart cities was closed. Replying to supplementaries in Lok Sabha, Mr. Puri regretted that Shirdi was never included in the smart city proposal.
The holy city of Shirdi, and the honourable member is absolutely right. It had a population of 36,000, but that was according to the census of 2011. Today, I think the holy city's population should be closer to 50,000. But more important, because it is a holy city, a large number of devotees and pilgrims come there daily for darshan and for seeking blessings. Smart city may not be the only way in which the infrastructure of a city can be attended to. We would be very happy, and whenever a smart city revision 2 comes up, if the state government of Maharashtra at that point of time were to recommend Shirdi as one of the cities.
The minister said in 2011 census, Shirdi was put under Amrut as a holy city and all steps were taken. Mr. Puri said if additional steps are needed, the ministry is happy to consider them. He said Shirdi city was not a part of the initial shortlist prepared by the Maharashtra government. The minister informed the House that Smart Cities mission is aimed at creating replicable models in 100 smart cities which can act as lighthouses for other aspiring cities of the country. In Lok Sabha, the issue of exclusion of Chennai airport from the list of embarkation points for Hajj pilgrimage created noisy scenes for a while. The issue was raised by the DMP parliamentary party leader T.R. Balu during the question hour. He pointed out that Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has in a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi last month urged to restore the embarkation point status to the airport. The Minorities Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi in his reply said Saudi Arabia has imposed several COVID-19-led restrictions, though he said there is scope for an increase in the number of pilgrims this year after a gap of 2 years of its suspension.
Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today said that for the first time a nuclear power plant will be set up in North India. Mr. Singh said it will be established in Gorakhpur area of Haryana, just 150 kilometers away from the national capital.
Earlier on, all these nuclear plants were limited to a few states, a handful of states like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, etc. Now we have moved northwards also. We are going to have a nuclear project, the first of its kind in North India, just about 150 kilometers from the place where we are right now sitting. It's a small township called Gorakhpur in Haryana. So we have not only increased the number, but also tried to make it a pan-India generation project.
In reply to a question in the Rajya Sabha, the minister informed that nuclear energy is set to become one of the major sources of alternative energy in future, and there is a plan to increase budget allocations in this regard. Dr. Singh further informed that by 2024, there will be 9 nuclear reactors in the country and 12 additional such plants have also been approved during the COVID period. He said 5 new sites have also been identified for setting nuclear power plants. In the Rajya Sabha, the opposition members, including from Congress, TMC, AAP, RJD and TRS, today staged a walkout from the proceedings of the House, alleging that they are not being allowed to raise their issues. When the House reassembled after the first adjournment at 12 noon, the Deputy Chairman, Harivansh, started question hour, but the opposition members raised the issue of suspension of 12 members and demanded that leader of opposition should be allowed to speak. He appealed to the opposition members that question hour is very important and allow the members to ask questions. To this, members from Congress, TMC, AAP and RJD, who were on their feet, started sloganeering. Deputy Chairman urged the members to let the House to function, but of no use. Leader of the opposition, Mallikarjun Kharge, alleged that government is not allowing discussion on inflation, which is an important issue, and in protest, the members from the opposition parties staged a walkout. After completing the question hour, the Deputy Chairman adjourned the House till 2 p.m. for lunch.
A section of the opposition MPs sat on dharna this morning in front of the Mahatma Gandhi statue in Parliament premises, seeking the revocation of suspension of 12 Rajya Sabha members. Former Congress President Rahul Gandhi, Ram Gopal Yadav of the SP, Manoj Jha of the RJD and Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, were among those who participated in the dharna.
Government today said that the paddy procurement is progressing smoothly in Kharif marketing season 2021-22 at minimum support price MSP from farmers, as was done in previous years. Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Ministry said over 290 lakh metric tons of paddy has been procured in Kharif marketing season 2021-22 up to 30th November. It said over 18 lakh farmers have benefited with MSP value of over 57,032 crore rupees till now. The ministry said the maximum procurement in the ongoing Kharif marketing season is done from Punjab, followed by Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. The procurement in other states is also gaining momentum.
The Union Government has said that more than 138 crore 46 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been provided to states and Union territories so far. The Health Ministry today said that over 22 crore 78 lakh unutilized vaccine doses are still available with the states and UTs to be administered. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed the 125 crore dose mark. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said this is another proud moment for every Indian. He said as India intensifies the Har Ghar Dastak campaign, the country is marching ahead with a new zeal and new energy in its fight against COVID-19. 8,548 COVID patients recovered in the last 24 hours and national recovery rate stands at 98.35%. The country reported 9,765 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Currently, India's active caseload is around 99,000.
Talking to AIR on the severity of the new variant of COVID Omicron, Dr. Anupam Prakash, Professor Medicine, Lady Harding Medical College, said it is too early to tell about its life-threatening impact.
इसमें लोग भय इसलिए है क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारी म्यूटेशंस हैं, लेकिन ये बताना लाजमी है कि वायरस में हर हफ्ते ही 10-15 म्यूटेशन होना लाजमी है। तो डर इसलिए है कि ओमाइक्रॉन में 30-40 म्यूटेशंस पाई गई हैं और उनमें से 25-26 म्यूटेशंस ऐसी हैं जो पहले नहीं देखी गई है, लेकिन फिर भी अभी इसके बारे में हमारी जानकारी बहुत सीमित है। अभी तक मोर्टेलिटी इससे हमें नहीं पता है। इन्फेक्शन के ज्यादा होने के चांसेस हैं, ट्रांसमिशन के ज्यादा चांसेस हैं, लेकिन मोर्टेलिटी के अभी कोई भी केस जो है हमें नहीं सामने आया है। तो ये अच्छी बात है। अभी आने वाले समय में हमें पता चलेगा कि इससे हमें नुकसान होने की संभावना क्या है।
In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Mona Desai from Ahmedabad will be with us today to answer the queries related to coronavirus. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free number 1-800-115-767 and on telephone number 011-2331-4444. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This live program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.nic.in and on our YouTube channel News on Air Official. AIR Lucknow will broadcast from today a special series Uttar Pradesh Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday from 7:45 p.m. The program can be accessed on medium wave 747 kHz frequency and on the News on Air app.
You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Government issues Gazette notification to repeal the 3 farm laws. President Ramnath Kovind addresses the inaugural ceremony of International Ambedkar Conclave in New Delhi, says Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was in favour of awakening the moral conscience of the society. Lok Sabha takes up discussion on COVID-19 pandemic. In next 2 years, India's national road network would be improved to European standards to shorten travel time drastically, says Union Road Transport and Highways Minister in Lok Sabha. India at present is having air bubble agreement with 31 countries and have a proposal with 10 other nations. For the first time, a nuclear power plant to be set up in North India at Gorakhpur in Haryana, informs Minister of State in Prime Minister's Office, Dr. Jitendra Singh. National COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 125 crore doses mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.35%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Infinity Forum on FinTech tomorrow. Meteorological Department predicts heavy to very heavy rainfall in some districts of South Bengal on 4th and 5th December. In hockey, India to face Germany and Argentina to play France in semi-finals tomorrow in Bhubaneswar. And in cricket, second and final test match between India and New Zealand to be played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai beginning tomorrow. Rain god likely to play spoil sport. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
President Ramnath Kovind has said that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was in favour of awakening the moral conscience of the society, and he used to say that rights cannot be protected only by laws, but it is also necessary to have moral and social consciousness in the society. Addressing the inauguration ceremony of the International Ambedkar Conclave in New Delhi today, Mr. Kovind said Dr. Ambedkar always emphasized on non-violent and constitutional means.
वे कहते थे कि अधिकांशतः भूमिहीन और सीमांत किसान अनुसूचित जातियों और जनजातियों के लोग हैं. उनकी मुक्ति के लिए बाबा साहब निरंतर संघर्ष करते रहे. बाबा साहब को न्याय का प्रतीक पुरुष कहने में तनिक भी अतिशयोक्ति नहीं होगी. बाबा साहब समाज की नैतिक अंतरात्मा को जगाने के पक्षधर थे. वो कहते थे कि अधिकारों की रक्षा केवल कानूनों से नहीं हो सकती, अपितु समाज में नैतिक और सामाजिक चेतना का होना भी अनिवार्य है. परंतु उन्होंने सदैव अहिंसात्मक तथा संवैधानिक माध्यमों पर बल दिया.
The President said in the Constitution many provisions have been made to protect the interests of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and Article 46 of the Constitution directs that the state shall develop the educational and economic interests of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes with special care. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate Infinity Forum, a thought leadership forum on FinTech tomorrow through video conferencing. The event is being hosted by International Financial Services Centres Authority under the aegis of Government of India in collaboration with Gift City and Bloomberg.
The Supreme Court today expressed its dissatisfaction at the implementation of the measures suggested by it and the central government to curb rising air pollution in Delhi. A bench of Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Suryakant noted how children are still made to go to schools, though the Delhi government had assured that all classes would be online. The bench observed that elders have to work from home and children have to go to school. The bench will hear the matter tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the Delhi government has ordered closure of all schools in Delhi from tomorrow till further orders due to pollution. In West Bengal, the Regional Meteorological Department has issued a warning for heavy to very heavy rainfall in some districts of South Bengal on 4th and 5th of December. A low-pressure area lying over central parts of Andaman Sea and neighbourhood is likely to move west-northwestwards and turn into a depression today and intensify into a cyclonic storm over the next 24 hours.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently chairing a meeting on the cyclone-related situation in the country. Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Dr. P.K. Mishra, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba, Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla, IMD DG Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra and NDRF DG Atul Karwal is attending the meeting. IMD said a low-pressure area formed over the South Andaman Sea is going to build up into a cyclonic storm named Javed in the next 36 hours. Government will launch scheme for residential education for students in high schools in targeted areas for socio-economic upliftment and overall development of scheduled caste students. The scheme will be launched on 6th of December on Mahaparinirvan Divas of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter from Telangana region, Dr. Mari Chinna Reddy, who died on the 2nd of December 1996. He took part in the political struggle in the erstwhile Hyderabad state during the 1940s. He was also among the stalwarts who headed the Telangana movement in the late 1960s.
Reddy was born on the 13th of January 1919 in Pada Mangalaram village in Hyderabad state, at present in Moinabad zone of Rangareddy district, Telangana state. After graduating from Osmania Medical College, he opened 2 clinics and set up his own medical practice.
However, his heart desired to fight for the cause of freedom, so he abandoned his successful medical practice and dedicated himself to the cause of public service against the oppressive rule in the princely state.
Reddy took active part in the political struggle in the erstwhile Hyderabad state. He was the founder of the Andhra Yuvajana Samiti and was associated with several students, youth, social, educational, literary and cultural organizations.
In 1942, he was elected as the General Secretary of Andhra Mahasabha, which was a precursor of the State Congress. In 1946, he became a member of the Standing Committee of the State Congress and General Secretary of Hyderabad City Congress. Reddy firmly believed in Mahatma Gandhiji's methods of non-violent resistance.
After independence, Reddy served as the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh twice. He also served as the Governor of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu.
He also played an active role in the movement for a separate Telangana state and was president of the then popular Telangana movement, Telangana Praja Samiti. Till the very end, he remained committed to his cause for public service. We salute this great nationalist, freedom fighter and son of the soil.
We also remember Mungi Virayya and his compatriots who were martyred on the 2nd of December 1946 when over 500 soldiers of the Nizam raided the village of Mallaredigudam in Nalgonda, Telangana, in search of the peasant rebels. The Raya, along with over 600 villagers, gathered to offer resistance, on which the soldiers opened fire, even without any provocation, in which the Raya and another peasant died immediately.
The other villagers rose in self-defense and countered the autocratic Nizam soldiers by using Vadisela's catapults for throwing stones and chilli water for throwing in the eyes. 9 more villagers died in the brutal suppression. We salute all the martyrs.
We also remember one of the earliest moderate leaders, Narayan Ganesh Chandwarkar, who was born on the 2nd of December 1855 in Honawar in Bombay Presidency.
After getting his law degree in 1881, Chandwarkar went to London in 1885 as a member of the 3-man delegation to educate public opinion about India before England's general elections. On his return, he threw himself wholeheartedly into the work of the Indian National Congress and was elected president of its annual session in the year 1900.
Thereafter, he took a break from active politics and dedicated his life to the judicial systems and social causes, taking over leadership reins of Prarthana Samaj after the death of Mahadev Govind Ranade in 1901.
He re-entered the political field in 1914 and led the All India Moderates Conference in 1918, along with Surendranath Banerjee and Dinshaw Vacha. In 1920, he presided over the public meeting held in Bombay to protest against the report of the Hunter Committee on the Jallianwala Bagh atrocities, which was appointed by the British authorities. It was on Chandwarkar's advice that Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In a major push to the Go Electric campaign in Delhi and in sync with the centre's vision on electric mobility, All India Radio has shifted its entire fleet to electric vehicles for all its transportation needs. Chief Executive Officer of Prasar Bharati, Shashi Shekhar Vempati, said,
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मिशन है स्वच्छ भारत के तौर पे हवा को भी स्वच्छ रखना बहुत जरूरी है एंड इस तरह से एनवायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली जो ग्रीन व्हीकल्स इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स है इनको हमने अडॉप्ट किया एंड अभी मुझे पता चला कि दिल्ली में सबसे दूसरे नंबर पे लार्जेस्ट फ्लीट है इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स का.
On to sports. In the FIH Odisha Hockey Men's Junior World Cup being played in Odisha capital Bhubaneswar, India, Germany, Argentina and France have qualified for the semi-finals to be played tomorrow. Defending champion India will take on Germany in one of the semi-finals in the iconic Kaling Stadium in Bhubaneswar. The other semi-final will be played between Argentina and France. The second and final test match between India and New Zealand will be played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai beginning on 3rd December. After a pulsating draw in Kanpur, both sides would look to win this match to claim the series.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Government issues Gazette notification to repeal the 3 farm laws. President Ramnath Kovind addresses the inauguration ceremony of the International Ambedkar Conclave in New Delhi, says Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was in favour of awakening the moral conscience of the society. Lok Sabha takes up discussion on COVID-19 pandemic. In next 2 years, India's national road network would be improved to European standards to shorten the travel time drastically, says Union Road Transport and Highways Minister in Lok Sabha. India at present is having air bubble agreement with 31 countries and have a proposal with 10 other nations. For the first time, a nuclear power plant is to be set up in North India at Gorakhpur in Haryana, informs Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh. National COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 125 crore doses. mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.35%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Infinity Forum on FinTech tomorrow. Meteorological Department predicts heavy to very heavy rainfall in some districts of South Bengal on 4th and 5th December. In hockey, India to face Germany and Argentina to play France in the semi-finals tomorrow in Bhubaneswar. And in cricket, second and final test match between India and New Zealand to be played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. And that is the end of this news bulletin.